Moshi Moshi everyone. Today we'll be talking about how to come up with a good brand name. To start a company, the first thing that comes to your mind is naam kya hoga? And if you mess up here, you mess up everywhere. You can't really come up with a name which is as basic as half of the names that I'll be talking about now. So there are two approaches that industries follow when it comes to brand naming, right? One is a direct approach, other is an indirect approach. Direct approach is nothing but, let's say, Chai Point is there, or Fresh Menu is there, or any of these Big Bazaar is there. These are all a direct approach. They are directly telling you, as soon as you hear the name, it's like, ye particular brand is into this particular thing, right? I personally think that you should be going for the second option. That's my personal thing, that a name which is not directly related to what you do. I have certain points to back that up. There are certain things like, let's say, if you come up with a brand name which is directly centered to your domain, let's say a brand like Chai Point or a brand like Big Bazaar. Tomorrow you can't come up with a clothing range name as Big Bazaar. You can't come up with a mobile phone range called as Chai Point. It's very domain centric. But if you're building a company, you never know tomorrow what opportunity drops in and you might want to get into that domain. And what overall thing that you have built till now will be vanished if you are tomorrow, let's say, again giving an example, Chai Point coming up with a clothing range might not be possible. So Chai Point, what they will do, they will come up with another brand and they have to promote that brand to that level to make sure people are remembering that. But let's say today, let's say Alibaba or Amazon. Amazon tomorrow wants to get into so Amazon was started as an e-commerce company, right? Today they are selling Alexa, or today they are selling Android sticks. You never know what opportunity drops in. So now Amazon name is already known out there in the market. What we are going to do is, if you come up with a name which is completely indirect to your product, it talks about your vision, you can attach it to any product opportunity or business opportunity and then use that brand leverage that you have built over a period of time. Otherwise, if you are very domain centric, it will be very difficult to come up with the same name and just promote it everywhere. Okay, there is one more thing. Brands comes to us and they come and tell ki I want a brand name. My competitor is X brand, and I want to come up with a brand name which is completely sounding like the same brand name. This is the worst approach that I think Indians are very good at copying. I have been seeing people copying and coming up with. You copy a business model, man. Don't copy the whole name. Don't copy this name that sounds like the same. You can't build a company. Apple is there. You can't make a lemon mobile and make a multi-billion-dollar company. It will not happen. You should have your own identity. Your brand name should have its own theme. It should have its own story. Let's say Oyo is there. Don't come up with Poyo, or don't come up with Moyo, or don't come up with Choyo. It will not make sense. Oyo is Oyo. You can come up with your own brand name and build your own story and build a brand around it. You don't have to come up with a similar sounding name to rule an industry. Coming up with the right name is actually a really difficult task, but I'll give you 3 simple guidelines that you can follow at least to be on the right path. Why do you come up with a name? You want it to be remembered, right? The first thing that you should have in mind is a name should have a high recall value. High recall value is nothing but the name should be remembered. If it can be remembered, you can relate it to any product, any service, anywhere you want to, but it should always have the high recall value. When we were coming up with a name for Moshi Moshi, overnight we need to change the name, and we didn't, back then when we had a name called Speed Card, we didn't know that you need to register your name, and we didn't get registration. So overnight we need to come up with a good name. And I was watching this movie called Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and there was a scene where Hrithik Roshan is telling Moshi Moshi to a Japanese client.
Moshi Moshi Arjun-san. Moshi Moshi Yamamoto-san.
Mercy, mercy. Japanese mein hello.
I assure you.
Like whole day, me and Ajay, we were spending time remembering how to come up with the name, and it just clicked my mind. I saw that scene and that screen played in my mind. I like Moshi Moshi. We didn't know how we'll relate it to advertising, but Moshi Moshi meant hello in Japanese, when you pick up a call, you tell Moshi Moshi, and then we start relating it to, we are making brands say hello to the world. It's very important that you come up with a name that can be remembered, and at the same time, it gives you an edge. What happens, right? If you have XYZ advertising agency, there are high chances people will not remember you. We have till now heard from a lot of people the name has created a very good edge for us. So high recall value is I would give 80% leverage to something called high recall value. If your brand is, people are able to recall your brand, your purpose is served. The second thing that comes into my mind is scalability. So if you come up with a direct name, and in future if you have plans to increase that particular brand name to other domains, then don't come up with a brand name which is which is centric to a particular domain. Let's say a chai point or a particular big bazaar. If you want to come up with, in future, let's say you're starting with a grocery mart, but if you want to come up with clothing range, and then you want to come up with your own set of mobiles, or you want to get into the manufacturing side of it, you want to build your own brand, then you should not come up with a domain-centric name. So scalability is very important. You should keep in mind whether you want to scale your business or you want to be centered around a particular domain. If you want to scale your business, come up with a vision-centric name and not a product-centric name. By vision-centric name, I'm talking more about the vision. Let's say Amazon. Amazon tells we sell everything which is A to Z completely. In the logo it symbolizes A to Z. So if you are talking about more of your vision, it makes sense. Otherwise, don't come up with a domain-centric name if you want to scale your business in future. The third one is basically if you have a story or you can link it. It's really important if you can link your name, and I would give this 5%. At Moshi Moshi, at certain times, what we do is we come up with a brand name and then we try and relate it with a story. Stories I think is important, but if your recall value is high and if your domain thing is being checked and you're sure that the name is making sense, you can come up with a vision of the brand and try to relate it what the name symbolizes. Let's say, again, I'm giving you a case of Moshi Moshi. Moshi Moshi means hello. And advertising is actually making people say hello, making people tell their story out there. And that's why we related Moshi Moshi along with advertising. So story linking is important. You can come up with a story and that you can link it to the brand. It will be a good thing to go ahead with. So these three things, if you keep in mind, I think you will be able to come up with a good brand name. Next time when you're coming up with a brand name, do keep all of these things in mind.